we have with us the man who is in the eye of the storm, if you want to call it that, or in the eye of the race, as it were, for the Alausa Government House seat come next year at the general elections for Lagos. And that's talking about the APC governorship candidate, Mr. Babatunde Sanwo-Olu. Thank you so much for joining us on Sunrise.
Gentlemen, thank you so very much for having me.
Now, I guess straight off, the first thing to ask would be, given the nature of Lagos, both as a community and within the bigger community of Nigeria, how do you think it has fared, especially in relation to its counterparts? I mean, like other states.
Well, I mean, to whom much is given, well, gentlemen, thank you very much. To whom much is given, much is expected. You know, everything must have its own upside and downside. Lagos has had the unique opportunity of being the commercial nerve center of the country over the period of independence. It's had the opportunity of being the capital city of the nation. So by extension, it has had some development over those decades, you know, and at some point in time, you know, our committee of the nation called Nigeria said, we need to take, you know, the capital somewhere. So given that narrative, right, Lagos in itself had started growing organically, you know, from independence. You know, at some point in time, you know, Ibadan used to have a population that was bigger than Lagos. You know?
Yes.
So because of some of those commerce and some of those developments, and you know, when Lagos was created in about 51 years ago, Lagos actually ended at somewhere around Ikeja, you know, but the Lagos state now extended beyond, and that's what you have as a conglomerate of Lagos. And so over that space, right, growth has actually, you know, taken place. But you know, it has also come with its own challenges, you know. When you have growth like that, you know, and with the speed at which it started, right, challenges will come, right? So when federal government, for example, left, you know, Lagos, they left with all of their parastatals, with all of their institutions back in Lagos. So Lagos had to deal with providing schools for every federal parastatal civil servant that was there, had to deal with environment, had to deal with health issues. For 15, 20 years, people didn't leave to go to Abuja. People had two families, you know, have a small family in Abuja where you just, but have a nucleus and a main family in Lagos, and it's still what is happening. So, you know, so Lagos had to deal with some of those issues where you've taken your financial gains to the federal capital, but your family remains here, and Lagos needed to provide for some of those, you know. So that's how it's like saying the asset and the liability. Whilst it's come with a whole lot of assets, right? The liability of also you need to deal with it, and that's what has been. But in context with other states, right? What I would have also expected is to have seen some organic growth too, especially with some other states that had some of the underlying opportunities as well, right? So the reasons why it hasn't catch up, I really can begin to adduce that. But I'll tell you something. When we're in government, in Ashwaju and Obasanjo's government, we actually made a proposal to create a Lagos Ogun, you know, urban global city. You know, we wanted to do Lagos Ogun city plan. And I went to the Federal Executive Cabinet. I did a presentation to them as young as I was then in 2004 something. You know, and it was such a novel idea. It's like typical where you see a New York, New Jersey kind of branding together. And we said, let us all come together. Let's pitch all of the ideas together and let us see the growth of Lagos, get it to Ogun State, and we can have a normal, seamless group. But hey, it was
Is that the
politics.
plan now?
No, well, I mean, I was saying 2004, but it didn't work. PDP didn't let it happen.
Yes, because I was going to say that
Absolutely.
by 2004, the government in Ogun State was PDP,
Absolutely,
while the
yeah.
government in Lagos still remained.
It was not even more of the government in Ogun. It was actually the federal, because you needed that federal might.
Right.
Right. You needed that federal might to see it and to let it work and to bring about some processes, some approvals that could let it work. You know, Professor Mabuguje also worked with us in that. That is a renowned, geographer.
Geographer,
you know,
yes.
yeah, geographer, and also. So we were also excited, you know, about it. And I mean, you are close to Ogun State now, you know, so it is seamless. And that's how development typically it's supposed to be. Well, you know what, some of the conversations we need to still have it. That's what is happening.
Is that one of the major things you're going to be chasing when you get into office?
We will definitely, because I'm very passionate. I know everywhere about Lagos. I know the entire state very well. And we have, I'm hoping, that the APC governorship candidate, Mr. Dapo Abiodun, wins his race. It's some collaboration we need to do. Our people need it. It's a no-brainer. It's something that needs to happen, right? Development has no barrier, right? It's just a case of it's in your mind somewhere. You know, let me give you a typical example. How do you explain a LASMA, as it were, a traffic warding officer from Abeokuta coming to come and control traffic just by Baja Junction? You look at it. You know, it doesn't make economics of scale. When, you know, you see this is Lagos State, this is Ogun State. How do you marry? And somebody has to travel 2 hours, an hour and a half journey just to come and control traffic by Baja.
But in all of this, you have said a lot of things I'm trying to digest.
Yes.
Because it seems that you've just got this so much information that you have. But
thank you.
The people of Lagos will wonder, what makes you think that you're a preferred candidate in the run-up to who becomes the governor?
Thank you, Gimba. I've got a resume that I dare say that not a lot of people can post out there. In my 30 years post-university qualification, I've had a very unique opportunity of doing 17 years in the private sector and doing almost 13 years in the public sector. So it's a mix that is so rich, is so deep, and is so complementary. I have worked with 3 governors. I have been a 3-time commissioner. I have run the biggest commercial entity out of Lagos. On the private sector side, I had run a startup company. I had run 3 banks at the treasury level. I've been an investment banker. I've been a consultant in privatization. I've worked in Niger Delta. I've worked in Maiduguri, in Kukawa, in Lake Chad. You know, so bringing all of those processes together, bringing all of those opportunities, there are a lot of people that I've met. The kind of challenges that I've had to deal with, right? The kind of places that I've had to be to, the kind of responsibility that I've had to take. I imagine that I'm equally better qualified to do that job of Lagos. Not only because of the things I said, but because I'm so passionate about people. I'm so passionate about the narrative called Lagos.
Your mode of emergence, you don't think that might be a weight on this beautiful resume that you put out?
I actually don't understand what do you mean by your way. What is the
your
way?
Mode of emergence. Because you know the controversy that surrounded your emergence?
I really don't know what controversy you're talking about. You cannot cry more than the bereaved. You cannot start a race until when INEC says to you, start the race. You cannot start an agenda of politics if the right atmosphere is not right. There's no need for me raising my hand 2-3 years ago if there's no vacancy, if there's no means, if there's no time that says that this is the time for you to start. It was when they said we should start that I started. It's just that all of us need to take it out of our block brain that if you don't know somebody and you now know somebody, you'll be wondering, where does this guy appear from? I've always been there. And one of the first things I've said is that I've done a lot of first, which are not directly attributable to me, but which we need to bring out now. I was one that set up the Security Trust Fund. A lot of people don't know that. In the first tenure of BRF, within the first 2 months, with all of the contacts I have in the private sector, we got all of the bank MDs. We raised over 250 vehicles in the first 6 months of that administration. I ran the Security Trust Fund before my dear uncle, Mark Conjola, became the chairman. Before Atowari even became the executive secretary, I brought out the blueprint. Secondly, I started Lagbos. I registered Lagbos. I wasn't commissioner for transport. I started up, we went to Cairo at that time. We did a 200, bus procurement off balance sheet, meaning that without any recourse to government. I started the first pension commission in this country, even before the federal government set up their own pension commission. I paid the first person that paid the 18,000 minimum wage before even the federal government paid theirs.